I served as a 0431 embarkation chief, worked with many different units, groundside units, aerial units, probably most prominently VMGR 252, KC-130 Squadron out of Cherry Point, North Carolina, and we served missions in Pakistan during Operation Enduring Freedom. Probably some of my most memorable moments were at Marine Corps Air Station Cherry Point. That was just a great duty station overall, and I've met some of my best friends just during that time. Just the camaraderie, different things we did, deploying together, and it was just a great place to live, and that was the longest duty station that I served on. So Havelock, North Carolina, and the air station just became more like home than any other place that I've lived, probably. My most prevailing moment during the military, I'd have to say, was on 9/11, 2001. I remember sitting in our office watching the television as the towers came down, and we didn't know exactly what was going on, but I remember receiving a call from the Sergeant Major and telling us to get a deployment plan ready because he didn't know where we were going, but we were sure we were going to go somewhere. And at that moment, everything just became real for me. So I'd have to say, out of every moment during my whole time in the military, that was probably the most vivid moment that I've had. Probably the most life-shaping moment in the military was, if I could even narrow it to one, obviously boot camp. That's a big deal. That's your first experience with, the discipline and the rigors of the military. But other than that, it'd probably have to be being promoted to a NCO level and having troops under you and being responsible for their welfare, and the Marine Corps giving me an important mission to carry out, whether it be recruiting or embarkation. Just being in a leadership role and having people's lives and livelihoods being in my control and making sure that those troops were squared away was very important and probably the most life-shaping moment at that time. How I first got involved with the American Legion was actually through one of the programs, and that's Empire State, Boys State program. I had the honor and the privilege of going to Boys State when I was a junior in high school, and I was elected governor, and I joined the Marines right after. So once I finished my service, I knew I wanted to get a chance to serve and come back, and that's how I got hooked up with the American Legion. The most satisfying thing for me about being in the American Legion is some of my department level responsibilities, and that's working with the Department of New York American Legion College. So much we focus on servicing veterans and their families, and that is the most important job in the American Legion. But I find that my joy comes from helping those that are the Legion, the Legionnaires, helping them with the college and learning the things that we do to support veterans. Also during my time at the National College. So it's those things that kind of make me feel good, helping out Legionnaires, and then them taking the things that they may have learned from me and taking them out to help veterans and their families. I've had more than a few mentors during my time in the American Legion. Probably most prominently would be Tom Swimp, who's a member of my post back home. He's been a member of the post for 55 years and was actually the person who picked me up from Buffalo Traditional High School to send me to Boys State. So I'd probably say him at the post level, numerous mentors at the department level, so many that I probably couldn't name. That's a good thing about being a younger Legionnaire. Most of the Legion community kind of wraps their arms around me because they see that I'm involved. So everywhere from the post to the national level, I've had many mentors and probably too many to name. The American Legion has evolved so much just in my time in the American Legion, and it's really focusing on the new veterans, the OIF, OEF veteran and their families. Overall, as a whole, the Legion is getting a whole crop of new, younger, involved Legionnaires. I think that we've kind of got away from a generation of service, but we're kind of getting more into it during the time with combat and war that has been going on. As I travel throughout the country with the American Legion, I've met so many new Legionnaires who have this in their heart, and I'm sure that over the course of the next 100 years, as we come up on our anniversary, we'll keep a stronger, better Legion, and it's definitely entrusted into a great group of people coming up in the future. When I talk to other veterans about the American Legion, I let them know that there's many different programs out there for them to take advantage of. Everything from TFA, from Operation Comfort Warriors, to most important, probably service officers. Many of the veterans that I know that are younger, especially in the Marine Corps, we kind of have the rub some dirt on it mentality. We don't always take the best care of our health at times, as in all branches. And I mostly tell them to get with the service officer. Things that we don't think about at maybe 17, 18 when we join, when we get a little older, some of these things kind of come back to haunt us, and I get them hooked up with the service officer. Also, what I like to tell them is the Legion isn't maybe what our reputation is said we are. In some instances, we have a negative reputation of maybe just sitting up to the bar, but that overall thing has changed. We're getting more involved with health, more involved with family, and that's the thing that I want to preach, is that we're a Legion family. You can bring your kids, you can bring your wife, you can bring your parents to Legion events and feel safe and comfortable. You don't have to worry about anything negative or violence or being drunk and things like that. Most of that stuff is done away with, and I'm proud to say that I'm a part of the American Legion.